self-conscious today because he has a cigarette in his mouth.
Hey, skeletons smoke all the time. That's how they ended up in that predicament.
Thank you for connecting that.
Yeah, you're welcome. This has been brought to you by the Anti-Tobacco Foundation.
Dare.
Don't smoke gel. Just eliminate lies. Do you remember those commercials?
No, I never had a gel one.
You didn't?
No.
You're probably too young. Gel. Just eliminate lies. And I always thought it was lives. And my mom's like, no, they don't want to eliminate lives. They want to eliminate lies. Gel. Just eliminate lies.
We're not going on a murder spree.
No, we're not. It was like, just eliminate lives.
They're very true to their branding. They can just tell you how it is.
And I'm like, no, they want to eliminate lives lost to tobacco. She's like, no, that's no. Let's cut the fat and just eliminate lies. Okay, Mom, fine.
Funny.
Well, I'm really glad to have you back on the podcast this week.
I love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you. And I'm even more excited about this dynamic because as we announced last week.
I might have, I was going back listening to that. I'm like, okay, I did not break the news because we talked about it in the episode and then we did the intro. I felt so bad after the intro. I'm like, I just exposed her to the podcast.
No. And I'm sure a lot of people know. And if you've seen me, you definitely know there's something going on in there and it's a baby. So yeah, come July, there will be a baby, which means there will be a maternity leave. I don't know whether I'm more excited about holding my sweet new baby or shutting off my email notifications. What do you think it's going to be? I'm kidding. It's definitely the baby. Definitely the baby. But in my absence, this baby's all yours. You got to keep the train on the tracks.
I'm excited. We already have some guests that we're trying to think to line up. And
don't pull anyone that I'll be jealous of not being on the I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be in here with the baby.
Then we can have a jealous episode when you get back of all the things you were jealous.
Yeah, I was jealous of this person. Just how you handled the podcast in general. You did a much better job than me. The people will speak. They'll say, keep Shelby.
No.
Yeah.
No one can do what you do. And I'm just happy I can fill in while you get to enjoy your little baby.
I know. It's very exciting. And I'm very excited to be handing over another one of my babies to you. You're going to kill it.
Oh, it'll be fun.
You're not going to kill the baby, sorry. Who are you?
We're not eliminating lives.
We're not just eliminating lives. Who are you jealous of this week?
I was actually listening to a podcast on my way in and got word that Elon Musk just bought some shares in the Twitter sphere and is now on the board of Twitter. So I'm jealous the power that Elon Musk has with his money. That's insane.
Yeah, I might even rephrase that for you. The power Elon Musk's money
there
has.
We go.
The power money holds over all of us.
Gosh.
Isn't that something? It's very interesting.
It is, especially as we like to talk about, which is why I'm excited for this conversation today, because this is stuff we talk about all the time. But like the NFT game, and that's living on Twitter, and Elon Musk's money and the NFT money, that's, oh my gosh, my head's exploding with how much this could change the game for a lot of stuff.
It could change the game for a lot of things. And I feel like as much as I wanted to be anti and I don't understand it, and since I don't understand it, I don't want to pay attention to it, it's forcing its way into our lives. But all the good things do. The internet forced its way into our lives, and look, it's ruining our lives every day. So, thank God we did. Kidding. But there's just going to be certain things that happen where we can't deny that we need to make a switch over to that. And I think NFTs or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is one of those things. And obviously that all ties together. The blockchain, it's so much, and we'll get to buzzwords later, but it is very interesting. And yeah, I mean, with him being in that position, I'm interested to see, he's a quirky guy, where things go and if he can make a change.
Absolutely. And even things get excited when you first have them and you first start them, but then you kind of die off and get out. So I wonder if his buzz will continue on through Twitter's life.
Yeah.
Or if he's, again, going to get what he wants and kind of phase himself out.
Yeah. It was, a couple of weeks ago, he took a poll on Twitter asking if people felt like they could speak freely, basically, on the app. And a lot of people said no, which I got to say, and we were talking about this in the office this morning, I agree. I don't think that you can. Now, that being said, maybe some of the things that were being said shouldn't have been because of that is so layered, and it could get so, and it's not even politics at all. It is like, why would you allow anyone to say something like that? Mm-hmm. But there has to be like an approval. There has to be a tier. I don't know. There has to be some sort of, so we'll be interested to see where that goes and where he takes that specifically, but plus the whole thing. And you're right. Like his money has the power to get him in, get him out as quick as he wants. So
he can do what he wants with his money.
He can.
And money talks.
Money talks. I wish he would talk to me more.
I'm open to a conversation. We can set up a Zoom meeting.
I wish it would say, I'm over here. Wallet. Come get me. And I say, all right. Hot or cold?
Marco.
Polo. Jesus. We are 9 minutes and 21 seconds in, and Sam's ready to peace out.
Sit down.
Well, I got to tell you who I'm jealous of this week.
I want to hear it.
It's not necessarily Sam because I know he's not feeling well, but it is Sam's sexy radio voice. Sam, could you give us a sample? He has that microphone over there for a reason.
Yeah, it's from the big. Oh my God! Now I'm hearing myself and I sound awful. Dear God.
Some would disagree. Most would disagree. Can you read us a poem?
Remember, the 5th of November. The gunpowder treason and plot.
Let's give us something a little
what do you want?
Do you know?
I don't know. Like I need the
Phoebe's her sexy voice, her sexy sick voice, like my sticky shoes.
You know she's not like about Smell Cat. I didn't watch Friends.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Never mind that.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
I watched How I Met Your Mother, where Marshall talks about slapping Barney in the face.
Oh, well,
like, you just got slapped.
Oh, I forgot about that plot.
Across the face, my friend. And then Barney's like, whoa. Just in the middle because it's Neil Patrick Harris.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Sam.
All right, we're done. It's done.
Are you still jealous of that?
Yeah. I would use it for evil, though. See, I could not be trusted with a voice like that. I couldn't. I would be profiting all over this land with a voice like that. Oh, my gosh. It's definitely not your brand, though, Sam. It's off-brand for you. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today is what makes a good brand? What is the importance of personal branding? What are the elements of brand? What is brand? Brand. It is something we're so passionate about. And it's something that comes out in every single episode, too, because as we sit with our guests and we talk to them about maybe it's their side hustle, maybe it is their full-time job, their personal brand is coming through. And we get to experience that and see what makes them so unique and so successful. So I'm really excited to just unpeel the onion of branding.
And it's even super relevant too if you are a business as well, not just a solopreneur or anything.
Absolutely.
Like a business's brand in general. Like Bing Bang has a brand, you have a brand. Branding's everywhere. So I'm excited to dive into it too because it's what we do here at Bing Bang.
It absolutely is. And let's talk about that right off the bat. So, right, a business does have its own brand. And just in the conversations I've had lately with clients, prospective clients, whoever, when I say brand, I don't mean your brand is your logo and your colors in this. No. Your brand is everything. Your brand is your culture. Your brand is your core values. Your brand is your vision. Your brand is your people. Your brand, it is everything. All of those things make up your brand. And so if you're having an issue with any of those areas, that is unfortunately going to show on your brand. No, not your logo, but it is going to show the way people look and perceive and have that experience with it.
Right.
So it's interesting. You have to be careful. Like when you have this beautiful brand like Bing Bang, well, what makes up that brand?
And especially in today's day and age where people buy based on relationships and trust, like your brand has to be something that people can relate to. Like, I love what you sell. That's great. But why do I want to buy from you? I don't want to know the benefits of your product. Like, who are the people making the product? Mm-hmm. Who are the people that make up your office? And what things make you different than someone else that's selling the same thing on a different URL?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that has been such a evolution of Bing Bang, I think, is always, and I'm going to be biased here, but it's always had a special, unique brand from its competitors just because we've always done things differently. Mm-hmm. But bringing you on and your different perspectives and being able to highlight all those things we just talked about in different ways is just pushing us forward even more. And I think it's been so cool. You can't put a value on that. I mean, you can, but you also,
I will. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Please don't.
Money talks
too much. It's so important, and I don't know if people think about that when they want to work with someone to develop their brand or do this or that. It's like, okay, but be ready to talk about all these things. Be ready to talk about more than the color palette,
right?
And the logo mark and your tagline. There's so much behind that.
I always relate brand to your social media strategy just because A, that's what I do, but also B, that's like the consumer, that's where they're getting to interact with you the most.
Yes.
So it is a difficult conversation, an eye-opening conversation for people like, yeah, I want to talk about what you do and what you sell, but I also want to sell your business without selling your business. Like,
exactly.
I want to talk about what makes it up. So it is an eye-opening. People are like, I sell this. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But you can't talk about that every day.
Who are you and why, what makes up this?
Exactly.
This? Yeah, totally. So on the personal brand, I'm putting quotes around that, is such a funny concept because it's something that's always existed, but we're just calling it something different now.
Right.
Like, it's your personal brand. I'm like, well, actually, that's Shelby's personality. That is Shelby's principles and values as a person. It's her sense of humor. It is her reputation. It's always been there. We're just calling it somewhere. And again, we'll talk about buzzwords and what that means, but I think that personal brand has become like a buzz phrase or a buzzword as of recently. But I guess it's important to put it at the forefront. I think people who in the past hadn't necessarily had to worry about personal brand.
Right.
Maybe those big wigs, older folks that own business, they didn't care about any of that.
It's also something like to connect you, a consumer, to who you are. Like, I would say coffee. When people think coffee, oh, Shelby loves coffee. Like, it's just something to make that connection in people's head. Like, what do you want people to associate with you? Like, Bing Bang, we have a good time. We got a keg in our in our background. Like, fun, Bing Bang, beer.
Good work.
Is that our new tagline?
Fun, Bing Bang, beer. Sure. I think we could workshop that a bit. I expect more out of you.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Why? I sat on a panel about personal brand a few months ago, and it was really eye-opening because I sat with 3 other people in different industries, and both of them actually would be great guests on the podcast, but we attacked that question, what is personal brand? We each answered it differently. We meant the same thing, but it's like, right, like yours is coffee, whereas mine is how I'm perceived and is the experience you have with me online, in person, elsewhere, the same? Is it consistent across? Because that is so important to me and my brand and our brand, to make sure that that is consistent and it is not like different from interaction to interaction. Now, my husband might say, yeah, it is different from interaction to interaction. And what I say, true, touche.
You married this.
Yeah, you married this and you knew it is a spectrum. It is constantly moving. But, that's important.
Yeah, the fluidity of it that's what even, I'm taking it back to social media terms, like from platform to platform, keeping that consistent message with your consumer, because there's different audiences that live on different platforms.
Yeah.
And they still want to relate what makes you back to you.
Right.
What's something that makes up your personal brand? I'm kind of curious.
Oh, man. That makes it up.
Or like you would associate, like, yeah, that's part of my personal brand.
I'm not calling myself funny here by any means, but I would say my ability to find humor in situations and kind of bring humor into a situation, whether it is a dire situation, whether it's already a positive situation. But my ability to kind of like bring in and neutralize the situation or take it kind of where we need it to go by using like that sense of humor, that different angle. Just because I think there will be people, and it could be a business meeting or just an interaction on the street, they don't want that. It's like, too bad. Like, that's what I'm bringing to the table, and that's what you can expect. And we're going to be productive.
Right.
But it's not going to be, I'm not going to get from point A to point B how you might.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I even find your brain so interesting because you have your mommy account, which I would say being a mom is part of your brand.
Absolutely.
People come on and are like, you're the mom account. But you did something yesterday where it didn't even make the connection. We talked about how dive bars, you have the dollar bill and you stick it on the wall. You were able to like bring past to present and connect a story. Well, it was like some people used to write on a tree their initials. I, however, would write our names on a dollar bill and stick it on the ceiling. I'm like, your brain is so cool like that. Where I'm like, I can't think like that.
I think either you see that and you're like, she is a redneck, or she can draw parallels.
No.
Which I like to think I can draw parallels.
That's what
only
I'm getting
sometimes.
At. Yeah, no, it is so cool. I've seen you do that multiple times, and I'm like, that is so funny. She's able to connect stories and make them make sense together.
And that's what I think fuels definitely me in any like way. Like, oh God, I know it fuels you to be able to tell those stories. I did hear something the other day that made me laugh, and it was like, well, Paul McCartney is a musical genius because, Paul McCartney is taking all of his life experiences and channeling that into music. I'm like, well, I do that.
With my tweets.
With tweets. And they're always like, sometimes. But I just laughed. I'm like, that is what we are constantly doing as marketers, I think.
Yeah.
Taking life experiences, seeing an example here, seeing an inspiration there, bringing it back to our desk or our space or our workspace, and then going and drawing those parallels and creating something brand new for either our own brand, Bing Bang, or on our client's behalf. And when I heard that, I drew another parallel. I'm like, that's what we do every day. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really cool because we might take that for granted. Not everyone is wired that way.
Right.
And so, I love partnering with someone who is, maybe very type A. They're very analytics driven. They're very numbers. And to be able to bring a brain like yours and theirs in the same room and watch the magic that happens, I'm like, oh, God.
That is kind of cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Because it's creating
creativity.
It's creating creativity. David. Fold it in.
I don't know how to fold in the chain.
Fold it in.
Gonna make it any clearer.
There might be some ADHD involved. I don't know. I can't say.
I'm not confirming or denying.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of ADHD.
Tell me.
Can I make this segue?
Yeah.
Attention spans. And how they are at an all-time low. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm. You are a professional. That was a great bridge to what we're going to talk about next.
Thought so.
We're talking about content and how content is so short nowadays with the reels. I brought up earlier today, tweets, like they constrain your characters. And Mackenzie brought up the point that our attention spans are going to keep getting smaller and smaller and shorter and shorter. And it raises the question, did social media have something to do with this?
1,000%. 1,000% social media has had something to do with that. Social media and, traditional media as well. Think about it. I don't know how long commercials used to be. Commercials now, the bulk of them are 30 seconds long. Mm-hmm. Brands have to get their message across in 30 seconds. They have to get someone to take action or feel something in 30 seconds. Whereas when we're putting together digital campaigns, we have to cut that in half.
Right.
Because your online your online attention span is even shorter. And then on social media, that could be on a website. And then on social media, it is even shorter. If that hook does not happen within the first couple seconds, might as well forget about it. Yeah. And so when you mentioned them taking TikToks and Reels and making them longer, it's like, what's going on there?
Well, then it kind of makes you have to think differently as well. So we know people like they like short attention spans. So that's where like the transitions come in and the outfit changes, and that's what gets people to keep watching. So it still can be a 60-second reel, but how am I going to keep you engaged for the whole 30 seconds? Obviously, the beginning is very important with your hook and calling out a pain point, but how am I going to get you to watch the whole thing?
Yep.
And it's when you cover your hand on the camera, or I had you do a blanket one day, and it's the attention span is still short, just for a longer duration.
Yeah. And I love all the apps, and I love the short videos, and I love the digestible content. But I also, being here for the past 5.5 years, almost 6 years, I love long form content. I love long form storytelling. I love being able to let a piece breathe and let the sunlight come through the window I love that. And so I think seeing them expand, go from 15 to 30 to 60 seconds, it's like, I wonder if some of the art is being lost, and maybe Instagram as an app that was originally developed to be like an artist platform, they're kind of like, what's that, Sam? Chime in, please.
First off, I 100% agree with you.
That's the first time Sam's ever said that. Can we get this on record? Okay, we are recording.
There's a couple of things quickly saying. So I think long form content's better because TikToks and Reels are like fast food. Like you get fast food.
Shelby's gonna come after you.
No, it's not that fast food's bad. Like, fast food gets the job done. It's enjoyable at the time, but like you're not longing for fast food sometimes. Like I long for my parents' home cooking, or like cooking or a meal at a nice restaurant where I'm getting like a good steak or some like gourmet higher end meal. And that's what long form content is. To me, the Reels and TikToks like get the point across, but I have nothing else below the surface.
Yeah. And
then also, I hate vertical format. I think it's stupid. Vertical format's dumb, and it ruins everything.
You expect people to be scrolling, everything. Turn their phone, hit the expand button, and watch it. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not realistic.
No, I will agree with that. That it fits the format of the app, but it does lose the artistry of shooting because you lose so much more perspective of where things are at in the frame.
Correct. We talked about that, you and I, yesterday morning, and I 1,000% agree. It's you have to know what the ultimate goal is, and that's
where even I think we do video and we love long form video and sharing that story with our brands, but is that content? How am I trying to say this without? That content is not made for Instagram, and that content's not made for TikTok. Like, that is made for your website and when people want to get to know you and dive in deeper with you. So how do we get people to go watch that content, right? I have to hook them with, here's my highlights and my nuggets. Now go to itsbingbang.com to learn more.
Exactly. That long form video isn't going to ever cross their what am I trying to say? Plate. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's never going to be delivered to them without us putting in place a strategy to get them to where they ultimately want to be. And that is through that short form content, like the TikToks, you're exactly right. There's a time and a place for both. And it's best when that is together.
Yeah. And that's when it's hard too, when you have someone like, I need help with social media. And like, it's one piece to this huge puzzle that we're trying to create for you. And we want it to all work together so cohesively so it fits your brand and your brand identity, and people have this great consumer experience. But it's hard when I can't do one without the other.
Right. Okay. sure, I'll do your social media. What's your website look like?
Mm-hmm.
If that website doesn't exist or it looks bad and the user experience isn't there, and it's like, okay, we've got a few more things to work on. The foundation has to be strong before we can build on that for you.
Right.
And thank God we're passionate about that.
And it doesn't mean don't create until that's ready.
No.
Still create and still be relevant in people's feed, but it's like it all needs to come together. And so we can showcase those 14-minute videos or 7-minute videos or however long they are, because they deserve to be seen because they are so beautifully done.
They are beautifully done. It is truly, it becomes art at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The stories we get to share and the interviews we get to do and the tears we get to see roll down the cheek, like that's meaningful stuff and it has a place. We just want to make sure eventually someone's getting able to experience that piece.
And hopefully it's someone who we've targeted, who is someone you're trying to reach your ideal audience. Right now, if I put up a TikTok, I don't know who's going to see it. Like I'm going to get thousands of views and I don't know if they're going to be relative to Bing Bang or not. I just know I have thousands of views, which is great. Love that. But is that going to get people like my audience to what I want them to do through my marketing strategy?
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. This is dumb, but I posted something on that mom account of mine a couple weekends ago and it was stupid. It was this toy in the bottom of the toy box. And again, I drew a parallel between like I cannot find this toy that is making this sound in the bottom of the toy box. I'm like, it's like the modern version of A Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. Cause like he could hear the, whatever.
So cultured.
And I posted, right. Thank you. 8th grade English. It would be nowhere without you.
I wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't. I simply wouldn't.
Sorry.
No, me.
ADHD.
Me. But I posted that. And I'm like, this is not to my audience, which is mostly moms, women, whatever. And I'm like, it was just fun. It was just an interesting case study because I'm like, who are these people and why? And the algorithm.
Well, that's the thing too. Going back to personal brand, it's like people want to relate these things like, oh, she talks about this and she talks about that. And then it kind of raises the question like, what's awful? Like, but I want to talk about this. Should I not talk about it? And especially with personal brand, I think it's a little different. But what are your thoughts on that? Like if you have something that it's not what you normally talk about, should you talk about it?
Yeah, always yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's going to pay off for you.
Right.
If your goal, and it's not my goal, if it is your goal to build an audience of like-minded, similar people, blah, 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 then you come in on personal brand and you talk about sports. And it's normally, a different topic. It's momming. It's not going to be the most popular thing, and you just have to be okay with that. But your personal brand is ultimately all the things that make you you, so don't ever.
Right.
If you are honestly sitting there thinking, should I post this because it's not my personal brand, then you're losing the game, and it is. We talk about it. It's a game.
But you also have to see the opportunity in doing that. Like you were saying, you got all these accounts where you're like, where did you come from? That's an opportunity to start a conversation with someone that probably would have never came across your feed, and you'd be like, hey, I'm here, this is what I do, if there's anything we can ever help you with or collab with, that DMs, like DM,
yes,
get down in the DMs,
get down, seize the DM, carpe diem.
Nice.
Seize the direct message. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, you were just on it today, and
I'm
just trying to catch up.
Yeah, right. No. Let's switch gears a tad to, and we're already talking about it, but like trends, but like, that was annoying what I just said.
I say like all the time.
Trends. I do too, but I don't usually say comma, but like. Cut this out. Trends versus buzzwords / fads. I'll just kick it off. I think it is incredibly important to stay on trend and stay ahead of what is happening. Now, with trends come buzzwords and come fads and things like that. So you just have to be able to identify what is a trend and is going to keep evolving versus what is a fad and what is a buzzword. But there are buzzwords floating around right now.
It'd be kind of fun to play like yay or nay of buzzwords.
Why don't we do that?
I think we should do that. Kind of like, do we like it? Do we not like it?
Okay. I'll start.
Give it to me.
Innovate.
I like innovate.
Do you?
It depends who my client is, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
You don't like it.
I don't. You're right. It's contextual. Like generically, McDonald's is not innovative.
See, that's what.
We have a couple clients that sure as shit are innovative.
Mm-hmm.
They think a completely different way. And I shouldn't say McDonald's isn't innovative. Yes, it is. I mean, like billions and billions and billions. They gotta be.
What is their kid thing?
Happy
Meal.
Meal.
That's innovative.
You know what it is? It is.
A toy?
Another fucking toy.
No.
Swag.
On you, chilling by the fire while I'm eating fondue.
Swaggy.
We used to always say swaggy. Swag, I think it's so lame, but I don't know how else, like, free stuff we all get.
Love, hate with swag. I know. It's like, swag is much more fun to say than collateral, printed collateral.
Freebie, we could say freebie.
Come by my trade show booth and I will give you some printed collateral that I think will make you think of my brand later on when it's in your bag.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's swag. I know.
It's swag. So love-hate relationship with swag. But I think, here's my squirrel moment coming back to me. The cool thing, don't let me lose it.
I won't go.
As marketers, like with this list of words, I could, my brain works as I can try to make it work with any brand, right?
Yep.
So even if, like I just did with McDonald's and innovate, Happy Meal is innovative. Like,
you're right.
It's how you angle it.
Mm-hmm. I would say this conversation is unprecedented. Just kidding. Trying to make that one work. It's fun. Okay, you're right. You're so right about that. Innovative was maybe overused there for a hot minute. And so I was like, don't ever want to hear that again. Now, unprecedented is one of those words that I'm like,
it's creeping up there.
It's not unprecedented. At this point, it isn't unprecedented. Like, I expect a cannonball to come through the window at any time.
You did today.
I actually thought that I saw one. I think that was a bird or lack of sleep. I'm not sure. Life comes at you fast, and so do cannonball birds.
You don't know how to react. Cannonball birds. Okay.
Oh boy.
Any other ones?
I mean, so we wrote down a list, but buzzwords we love: vibe, energy, feel. We do say that a lot.
I love vibe.
I do too. Experience. I love experience
because you do love yourself and experience.
It's all encompassing. It is what we should be striving for. We're not giving someone a tactic. We're giving someone an experience. I do like that one. Yeah. And I also like creative strategy. Because that's what we do here. I do. I love it.
I love vibe. We'd say vibe too much, we said. We're like, we use that word. What other words could we use besides vibe? Look, feel.
Right. A vibe is also all-encompassing. It is the feeling that you get from either someone else or a product or something. Like, it's the vibe. I am too old to say it.
You are not too old to say it.
No, I am. I am. But
not if you put like the curly thing by it, like vibe.
Vibe.
What's that symbol called?
Tilde.
Nice.
Tilde.
You are just a wealth of knowledge.
That's not right. What is that one?
What, like the little squiggly thing, like that you put over an N?
Yes.
I don't. No, I don't think that's a tilde.
Tilde.
We'll look it up later. While you're looking that up, though, I do have a question for you guys, and this will be my last chime in.
No.
What do you think though of things like brand loyalty? Because I think that plays into everybody's personal brand. Like I had a little stand where I was working at Nike, and they talked about like there are three kinds of shoppers. You have the people who are like just going in looking for the deal. You have your brand loyal people who buy nothing but Nike gear. And then you have like your agnostic people who are just looking for everything. And brand loyalty has also gotten to small business because we saw through the pandemic, like you need to support local business because it's part of your local economy, but don't try and support every local business. Pick like 2 or 3, and those are your main staples. And those are who you brand loyal to.
My thoughts immediately go to, like, it's easier to get a client I've already had to buy from me than to go out and find a new client. That's what kind of goes through my head, where I think going back to brand loyalty, I think that is super important to keep that relationship with someone that has bought from me or has used my services, to keep them coming back. So that's my thought. That's where my brain went.
Yeah,
Were you paying attention, or were you trying to figure out what the
I was right.
squiggly thing?
I was right.
I saw her on her photo. They were like, no way.
I was right. Don't be surprised.
I was right, whatever.
Brand loyalty is interesting because I think it goes back to the attention span conversation a little bit. I feel like in the past, maybe, and I'm answering this a bit differently than you asked it, but I think there were less options before. Now there are so many more options. And because there are so many more options, not only are there more options, there's more options because of this thing at our fingertips. So I think brand loyalty, there's just a lot of factors that go into that nowadays. And you really have to resonate on several different levels with a customer as a brand to make sure that brand loyalty is solid. Because like Nike, look at how many people fell off of Nike because of the Colin Kaepernick thing, right? So that's an interesting, like, I think there was a lot of loyal fans, or they thought, and then they took a stance on something they truly believed in, and then all these people fell off. And it's like, well, shit, how sturdy was that? How solid was that?
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting point, because I was just going to say how your brand loyalty is how you're going to get your clients to even grow. Like, how did Nike get so popular? I talked to someone who loved their Nike shoe, so that they are like, oh, I'm going to buy a Nike shoe because so-and-so liked it. So they trust their relationship with Nike to go out and buy that shoe. And that's a whole new relationship that Nike just got with someone, and they didn't have to do anything.
They didn't have to do anything. Yeah.
Besides keep that relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of layers in
everything's
I know.
layered.
And everything ties back because Nike did something that they normally didn't do. They took a stance on, they went outside of their
box.
Yeah.
Their lane.
Yeah. And I don't think it hurt them. People wanted to make it look like
right.
burning their sweatshirts. And
yeah.
like, who's that hurting?
Yeah.
First, it's hurting the environment. So stop. Our ozone layer is thin enough. And
you burning that is not helping.
Yeah, so that's a different conversation for a different day, I guess. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's that kind of can segue us too, like, and I talked about it before, you coming in and doing things a little bit differently and seeing things through a different lens is so interesting to me. And I love it. It's an exact representation of how the trends and the world is changing, because you, believe it or not, are a lot younger than me.
Well, you have
I know
more
you guys
kids
can't
under your
tell
belt.
because of all the filter Sam puts on this, right? Right?
That was so aggressive.
But it's so interesting. I mean, just the way I was taught. Okay, well, first of all, I grew up with the internet.
So yeah, what was your marketing, like, what were you learning about?
Oh, gosh. Well, before I was learning about anything, I was self-taught, right? So I was on the MSN chat, MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, not even AOL, that came after me, which I'm sure you're like, what the hell? How could that even be possible? It is possible. I am that old. So I knew what I liked. And then when Facebook came on scene, you know, it was taking elements of the things I grew up. So everything is just an evolution of what came before it. Obviously, that's how it works. But by the time, like, you were learning about the things that were already, you were learning about things that I was like, I don't even know what that is in school. Whereas the things I was learning about in school they seemed traditional yet outdated, right? But
right.
Like, you were learning about social media in college when absolutely not. That was not even an option for me.
Yeah, and I think that's something really impressive with you, even as you've seen the phases of the technology grow. Like you've stayed open-minded to, this is something new. I have to learn how to use it and use it for my clients, my business, my brand. So kudos, because like a lot of people can't do that. They are this is the way it's been done. This is the way I'm going to keep doing it. And so it's fun for me to come in and have someone like you who I'm like, we have to do this social stuff, and because it's all works with this, and you being so open to doing it and trying it. And the cool thing about social is you can try it, and if it fails, it's yesterday's news.
It's yesterday's news. Yeah.
We tried it. Now we know it didn't work for that moment in time, and we can always come back to it. So stay open-minded with the trends, because like you were saying, Twitter came out, I was like in middle school. I did have a MySpace account for like a hot minute.
You did?
Uh-huh. Yep. My song was Somebody Once Told Me.
Keep going, please.
The world was gonna roll me.
Oh, that is so you. Talk about personal brand. That's consistent.
Full circle. MySpace is where you developed your personal brand.
Oh, yeah.
You could customize the shit out of that.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your song? Do you remember?
Oh, like I remember. Hundreds of years ago. They didn't even, it was like a full string quartet recorded on a talk boy. Like it just doesn't. No, I have no idea.
But it is in college, we continue to learn about media and marketing and advertising with media, but we still were learning like billboards and whatnot. It wasn't until after college when the social media just like skyrocketed, and like it's just stuff you don't learn about in school. You're not learning about metrics at that point, because you still have the people who have created the billboards, and they still think that's relative in your
right. I won a billboard contest in college, and so my artwork was on a billboard, right? And it's like that competition would not be happening now, because it's like, who the frick cares about a billboard?
The billboards are kind of fun.
I love billboards.
I do too.
Part of my heart, like just like I love long form content, I love traditional marketing and the correct when it's used. I mean, that can run you off the road if you're not careful.
I know. Like I'm laughing at what the DOT is putting out sometimes.
Oh yeah,
like funny stuff.
They're clever.
I know.
They're clever.
I think you need a side job at the DOT sign.
I applied and they told me thanks, but no thanks.
Son of a
We
bitch.
can't believe they can't, put the asterisk for when I used my swears.
Yeah.
Because I do like to use my swears.
What did you tell me the other day? I always want to say like, yeah, or like, we got this baby under wraps. You're like, change it out for puppy.
Yeah. We got this puppy coming your way. It's just, it's fun, but a little less sexy.
I understand.
For work.
My personal brand is baby and yours is puppy.
Yeah. Let's get this puppy on the road.
I'm kidding. God.
No. You're not. That's okay. Oh my goodness gracious.
I love talking like that. Like I keep pulling my hair because my brain's going and I'm thinking and I'm touching it.
I
love having these conversations. This is just getting me so excited.
I do too. And I'm glad that we can share some of the conversations that you and I usually have behind a glass conference room door. We thought the world needs to hear it.
So we're going to put a mic in our face.
We are.
And let you hear it.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We have some exciting news from one of our clients that I wanted to share real quick. Speaking of, we're on a podcast.
Do it.
GRL, one of our amazing clients, has recently put out their own podcast that Bing Bang is producing for them.
Yes.
And it is going to be on our network of shows. We will be sharing their work later on once they get a couple episodes in. But the first one is out there. It is called GRL Law. And I'm just going to read the description to you a little bit. So I want you guys to all go out and check this out, because these guys over at GRL are, they're lawyers, but they're humans, right? And so that is what this podcast is going to do, is just to humanize that experience, take maybe some of that intimidation factor away. Because when you get in a pinch, I'll tell you what, these are the guys that you're going to want to call, because they are going to do everything they can to help you out of that situation. So without further ado, From the Iowa-based law firm that you want on your side, Gurley, Kemper, and Lindholm. I should have practiced that first. We present GRL Raw, a podcast that presents the art of practicing law in a different light: educational, practical, relevant, entertaining, and at times raw. Join the GRL team as we discuss recent developments and applications of Iowa law while simultaneously providing a behind-the-scenes look into the culture, character, and passion of the GRL law team. So, very interesting. You're going to listen to that podcast and come out with all this knowledge. Like, you're going to feel like a lawyer. And that's going to be your party trick. I know it'll be mine. Talk. You know me. I love to listen to a podcast and then immediately share that information like I have known it for years and I am an expert.
And you're going to make those parallels like you do.
I was like, man, please, the court. I've also been watching the thing about Pam, so I mean, excuse the hell out of me. I am the new Bing Bang lawyer. Get your paperwork ready.
I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, so that is very exciting news. Again, go check that out. They are everywhere, and we have been having a fun time producing that. Yeah, another podcast to join the family.
It's so fun to have our little network.
It is.
We got going on.
It is. Look at it. We're just
Bing Bang Network.
We're thriving.
Thriving every day.
Every day. Oh my gosh. Well, that's exciting. Thank you for sitting down and just brain melding with me.
I love brain melding with you. Like, and if you guys want to learn more about or hear more of our insights on branding or marketing and all that, let us know. You can send us a DM on Instagram. I love responding and chatting to you people, or leave a review and podcast. I would love to see some more.
Please do that. And again, they've got to be good. We do not want to tarnish our 5-star record that we have going on.
I want to keep that baby going, that puppy going. Sorry. I'm not learning.
Well, we're always growing and learning. I'm at least always growing.
Innovating. What were some of the words we talked about?
It's unprecedented. All right, you guys, we won't waste any more of your time, but thanks for joining, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Shelby.
Bye.
Bye.